Hello and welcome to this video entitled SERP Flipping. This is a bonus video for eTycoon customers from Ryan Moran's latest launch called eTycoon. My name is Brian Owens. I am not to be confused with Ryan Moran, who is slightly better looking and successful, but sometimes that happens. I just want to let you know I'm not him. I'm a good friend of Ryan's actually, and Ryan's a good friend of mine, and as such, I've agreed to give this bonus training for his eTycoon members. So, I use this strategy in my own business model at acquisitionsagency.com. And just as a quick plug, acquisitionsagency.com is the best option for website buyers and sellers for many reasons. Some of those are that we have a great inventory of non-public listings, so websites you won't find at Flippa. Our businesses are pre-screened by me, not a computer. Buyers and sellers are hand-picked for your needs. We do the contracts, we handle the escrow to save you on fees if you prefer. We handle the physical transfers of the sites. You only pay our predetermined fees if we succeed for you, and you only see sites we know you want if you're a buyer, and only qualified buyers know about your sale if you're a seller. The bottom line is, we're your best option. Go with us. And with that being said, my quick plug for acquisitionsagency.com is over. Let's get back to SERP flipping, because that's what you're here for. So, it'll take me less than 10 minutes to teach you this strategy, hopefully, but it is the easiest way to 6 or 7 figures this year if you apply it. That sounds pretty bold, but I'll let the content speak for itself, and you could potentially do it without even using your own money. Number one, just going to start right in with it. If you're taking notes, I have to give you a fundamental truth about website valuation. Most people get this wrong. I'm going to ask you a question. How much are websites worth? It's a question a lot of people ask. How do you value an online business? Now, as you think about that, most likely a multiple is coming in your head. Maybe you value websites 8 to 12 times the monthly revenue. Maybe you value websites by the year, and it's 2 to 3 years of revenue. No matter what multiple you're coming up with in your head, if you are coming up with a multiple, you are in fact wrong. All such thinking is ludicrous. There's only one correct answer to this question. How much is a website worth? The fundamental truth about website valuation is that a website is worth whatever a buyer is willing to pay. Don't forget that. If you only get one thing from this short presentation, you must know that a website is actually worth whatever a buyer is willing to pay for it. So, second fact I need you to know before we break down SERP flipping is that buying sites from people who don't know what you know as an educated eTycoon member is the best place to find a good deal, i.e. what Ryan has taught you about finding sites in Google. So, number 3, last principle you gotta have down to make SERP flipping work is that the place you stand to make the most money is in between these two people. And for that reason, we're going to go back through these principles real quick. Number 1, fundamental truth about website valuation. A website is worth whatever a buyer is willing to pay. Number 2, buying sites from people who don't know what you know is the best place to find a good deal. Number 3, the place you stand to make the most money is in between these two people. So, here's your money question. You ask this question and you can make all kinds of money. Here's the money question. Who stands to make the most money by being in the position of my seller? Because didn't we say that a website is worth whatever a buyer is willing to pay? So therefore we have to ask the question, who stands to make the most money by being in the position of the seller that you found? The person who's agreed to sell you their website. Whoever stands to make the most also stands to pay the most. That's the principle, that's the basis that we're working off of here. This formula applies to any aspect of a web property you want to sell. Since we're talking mainly about what we know in this example, I've titled it SERP flipping, because the main selling features are the search engine rankings themselves. However, it can be applied to any major asset belonging to a business. So some examples would be mailing list, products and services, domain names, content, videos, social media exposure, whatever. Maybe you've got one that I didn't write in this list that you thought of. Put it in the blank, add the word flipping, and that's essentially your business model. So there are some people who stand to gain a lot more from a certain market's mailing list than the average buyer. That person's willing to pay more for that business. Some people who have a big mailing list stand to make more money by buying an established business with a good product that fits their market. So they'll pay the most for that business. Some people stand to make the most money from a really good .com domain name that fits their business more than the average buyer. They'll give you the most money, and so forth and so on. So that's what we're talking about here. So here's my cue for a random example slide. So this is my slide that tells me to give you some examples of this. So what I'm going to do is resize my browser here at Acquisitions Agency, but we're going to go to Google first, and we're just going to type in a random mass market big time keyword phrase. I am really big into bass fishing, and that's a pretty large market, so I'm just going to type in bass fishing in Google. And you can see most of these links have already been clicked on by me because I have done this. Now, inevitably, no matter what keyword phrase, with the exclusion of some very high competitive stuff like maybe Forex trading, without exception, most every keyword will have some sites on the first page of Google that don't belong there. And what I mean by don't belong there, they are ranking for a keyword, a brand type keyword, that they don't stand to make as much money from as someone else. So let me just resize this here. We've got number 1 in Google, bassresource.com. Let's just check them out real quick. Bassresource.com looks like it's a big content site. Lots of articles, AdSense ads, a forum, videos, pictures. So this is a big content site. But it doesn't look like they're selling anything but ads, AdSense. Maybe they don't belong as number 1 in Google, or should I say, don't stand to make as much money by being number 1 in Google for bass fishing as someone else. Let's go back to the search engine results. Bassresource.com, another page. This guy has number 1 and number 2 for bass fishing. Pretty good. A couple YouTube videos. Don't dismiss those. We'll come back to that in a second. Bassfishingtechniques.net, number 3 in Google. And it is a giant AdSense site. Bassfishingtechniques.net is an AdSense site. Number 3 in Google for bass fishing. So, we could go through and we could find probably a few more Ultimate Bass. Another big content site. It's got a forum, some tackle reviews, classified ads, and links to articles and news. But they are not selling anything themselves. Some AdSense ads here. So pretty much everybody except for ESPN isn't the big brand type business that stands to make a lot of money. Here's Bass Pro. We know about them. They probably deserve a first page ranking for bass fishing. And FLW Outdoors, Wikipedia. So who do we immediately know stands to make the most money by being in BassResource.com's position? Would it be maybe Bass Pro? Well, maybe. We've also got some AdSense or AdWords, people who are paying to be on this term. WorldFishingNetwork.com. Let's check them out. See if they sell anything. Big content site here, but they're paying for the ad, so obviously they find that ranking to be valuable and probably have some money. But what if we typed in a consumer related phrase like bass fishing tackle? see, tacklewarehouse.com. Well, tacklewarehouse.com, I know personally, sells all kinds of fishing tackle. They do quite well, and they're basically 100% online business. So, do you think I could pitch the idea of owning bassresource.com to Tackle Warehouse? Do you think they'd like to have the #1 position in Google for bass fishing? Probably. Look at all of these other retailers that are paying for bass fishing tackle. Think that they would enjoy being #1 for bass fishing? Probably so. So anyhow, that's just one example. What I would then do, as I have done, I won't say which website on the first page of Google here, I contacted and I offered to purchase the website and negotiated a sale price with one of these websites, which I will remain nameless, for $75,000. They were willing to let their site go. It got several 100,000 unique visitors a month, all very targeted, and I was able to get an option with them to purchase the site for $75,000. Now, what I've done with that, I'm not going to disclose in this video, but $75,000 seems like a lot of money, right? But how much money is $75,000 to, say, a big brand like BassPro.com? $75,000 is not much money to them. You think that they would be interested for $100,000? Maybe. I don't know. We saw some YouTube videos here as well, and since this was my random example slide, that's what we're doing here. It's kind of random, but I want to show you the YouTube videos. They rank really high as well. So if you click on them, I'm guessing they've got a lot of views I've not seen. I'm right. 1.7 million views. Now it's an ESPN thing, so this isn't going to be for sale. But since we are at YouTube, we'll just go to the home page and type in bass fishing. Alright, bass fishing sweeping method. Mike Cat Adjuster. 274,000 views. Let's just click on his video here. Pause it, because I don't really care much about that for this example, but 275,000 views and no links to anything here, just some kind of video teaching a method for how to catch bass. Well, do you think that this guy's YouTube channel is for sale? Because remember, in our slides, it doesn't just apply to search engine results. It could be videos or social media following. So you think this guy would be open to me buying his YouTube channel? Maybe. Well, anyhow, you get an idea of what we're talking about here. Go ahead and close my browser. There's a few random examples of what we're saying. In a nutshell, here is SERP flipping. #1, find an asset in a big niche using the strategies that Ryan teaches in eTycoon. Secure the sale price with an option, again using what Ryan teaches you. Basically, once you approach someone about buying their website, no matter how much money they want, don't shy away from big numbers. Again, you're not going to have to use your money in a lot of cases. You want to get them to agree to let you buy the site for that price for an extended period of time, maybe 30 or 60 days that they would give you to lock in purchasing that site at that price. #3, ask your money question and make your approach. So your money question is what? Who stands to make the most money by being in the position of my seller? So let's say in our previous example of bass fishing, if we approach bassresource.com, which is just a big content site, and say, hey, how much money could I buy your site for? Obviously you would use the approach strategies that Ryan's taught you, maybe even use the templates that he's given you. And let's say they come back and they say $50,000, you can have the #1 and #2 positions for bass fishing. Then we just have to ask the money question. Who stands to make the most money by being #1 and 2 in Google for bass fishing? Maybe Tackle Warehouse, maybe another retailer, maybe a magazine, maybe FLW Outdoors, maybe ESPN. So then what we do is we gather information about the site and we decide what our profit model is going to be. So next it's time to define your profit model. So, SERP flipping profit models. There's two of them that I use. One is buy low, sell high. If you have your own money, then you can buy the site with your own cash, knowing that your lined up buyer that you're going to flip the site to is willing to pay a lot more. And oftentimes, a lot more can mean double, even on really big deals. The second model that you can use is do a toll gate broker job. Now, the toll gate position was a phrase that was made popular by, I believe, Bob Sterling with his licensing strategies he taught online a couple years ago. You may be familiar with him. But the toll gate broker job basically is where, after you've locked up an option, you then approach the seller and let them know you've got another buyer who's interested, and tell them the new price that the buyer is willing to pay, and you charge the seller a brokerage fee or a toll gate. In other words, the toll gate, you charge people coming and going. You charge the seller for finding the buyer, and then you charge the buyer a finder's fee for locating the deal. So those are the two main things that you can do to profit from SERP flipping, and they're both equally legitimate. If you buy low and sell high, you could potentially make more because you're using your own money and you get 100% of the difference. But doing a toll gate doesn't require any of your own money up front. You're just putting the deal together. So I hope you've enjoyed SERP flipping. It's about 15 minutes into this now. Short, quick, easy to digest. If you enjoyed this eTycoon bonus video, please come let me know by visiting acquisitionsagency.com and let me make you some money. So I hope to see you soon, and enjoy this video, and tell Ryan you loved it so that he'll have me make some more for you. This was fun. Hope you have a great day, and I'll talk soon.